Hi students, welcome back to the online English classes. Today we will resume our discussion on the second chapter of the fourth unit of your NCERT book. Now that we have already had a discussion on the introduction of the chapter My Elder Brother, we have also had a discussion on the part 1 and part 2. Today, our topic of discussion will be the third part of this particular chapter. But before we start any new discussion on the third part, let us have a look at the things that we had discussed in the previous video. So, the very first thing that we had learned was that Munna wishes to visit the village fair. We saw that it is called Mela in the chapter, and as you already know, Mela, though it is an Hindi word, it is still included in the English dictionary. So he wanted to go to the village fair, but Bhaiya says no to it. Instead, Bhaiya declares his preference for studies. He says that studies attract him more than playing outside and wasting his time. After that, Munna gets scolded by his Bhaiya for wasting their father's money. Okay, next we saw that Bhaiya fixes a timetable to be followed by Munna. You saw there were times for various subjects and there was no time for playing. And because of this, Munna does not like the timetable as it had no time allotted for playing. Okay, so now this is where we will start a discussion of the third part. So this is scene 2. In the last video, we had completed till scene 1. Now we will begin scene 2. And what is the scene 2? The final exams are over and the results are out. Okay, so let us see what the results are and how these two brothers have done. At first, Bhaiya says, "Alas, I have failed once again." Okay, now as we had seen before, Bhaiya had repeated many years in the same class and it has happened again. He had failed once again. But what is the first word that he says? Alas. It is an exclamation mark followed by an exclamation mark. Yes, but let us see what it exactly means. Alas is a word used to express sadness or feeling sorry about something. Okay, so in the picture you can see there's this little boy who's very sad, who's very upset about something. The same thing was happening to Bhaiya as well. He was also going through the same, and when he says alas, it just shows that how sad he was. Definitely, because if a person fails in any class or fails in any subject, it's very natural for that person to be sad, and this is why Bhaiya used this word alas. Listening to Bhaiya, Munna says, "Oh, but Bhaiya, I have passed and topped my class." Now you see, students, Bhaiya was so very studious. He gave so much time in studying and preparing for his exams, but then he failed. And Munna, on the other hand, he studied, he did his homework, but he also gave time for other activities. He loved to play. He wanted to spend time outside. Okay, but you see, and because of all this, Munna became a topper in his class. He not just passed, but he was first in his class. Now there is only 2 years difference between us. So you see, technically their age difference is 5. So their class difference should also be 5. But now you see, it is just decreasing. The difference is decreasing because Munna is getting promoted to the next class and Bhaiya is getting detained in the same class. And now that there are only 2 years of difference. Okay. So hearing this, Bhaiya says, "But my dear brother, don't be so proud." When Munna is expressing his joy, Bhaiya thinks that he's being proud. Okay, but let us not see it in that way. Maybe Munna was just very happy to share his result. Maybe he was not proud. Okay, and Bhaiya is also not scolding him, but he's just warning him. Okay, he says, "You have passed only one class and you think that I'm stupid and you are smart." Okay, so Bhaiya is, he's a bit offended and he says that just because Munna has passed one class, he should not think that he himself is very smart and his elder brother is stupid. Once in a while in a gulli danda game, you might get lucky. Okay, so gulli danda, it's also called gilli danda sometimes. But let us see what it actually looks like. See, this is the picture from your book, okay, from your NCERT book, and these little kids are playing gilli danda, and here they are, pointing at something and they're throwing a pebble at that. Okay, so this is what, and this is how gilli danda is played. Okay, so let's continue. Once in a while in a gulli danda game, you might get lucky and hit a goal. But that does not mean you have mastered the game. So it's not just gilli danda, it's about all the games. You are, sometimes it happens that you are just very lucky and that is why you are, like performing so well. But it's not just that, you also need to be an expert in the game. But many times it happens that even though you are an expert, you have you have had a lot of practice in that particular game, still you are not able to succeed there. So it's all a matter of luck, and that is what Bhaiya tells him about, that in gilli danda you may get lucky and hit your goal sometimes, but then it is not mandatory that you will face the same thing every time. Sometimes you may not hit your goal. Okay, and what is written at the end, it does not mean that you have mastered the game. Okay, let us see what mastered means. The word mastered is the past tense of the verb master. Okay, now see students, you are familiar with this word as a noun. You know a master is a person who teaches you. Okay, a teacher is also called a master. But as I said, there are some English words which can be used as both noun and verbs, and master is one such word. So the one that you are familiar with is a noun, the teacher master, that one. But in this chapter, the word master has been used as a verb. That is why we get the past tense of the word master as mastered. And what does it mean? To learn to do something well. Okay, so when you have mastered a particular art or a particular game, that means you can do it very well, you can play it very well. That is why the word mastered has been used. You have to work hard to be successful in life, Bhaiya says. Now students, you see, this is something that have been told to you multiple times. Everyone says that. Your parents say that. Your teachers say that. All your elders say the same thing. And it is something that you should also believe, that if you don't work hard, you will never get success. So hard working and smart working, both are very required. Okay, so when you have to study a subject like algebra or geometry in higher classes, then you will understand the importance of hard work. Okay, now I think you have not heard of these words algebra and geometry before. Some of you may have heard, but not all. Okay, let us see what these two new words are. Okay, students, so you see the pictures of both algebra and geometry have been provided. The picture of algebra says, there's a quote written below the picture. You just ignore that. All right, in the middle you see it is written, if x plus 2 is equal to 15, what is x? Okay, so this is what algebraic sums look like. Okay, and the more you go to higher classes, the more complex these become and the more difficult these get. Okay, and on the other hand, you can see geometrical shapes. Now geometry is something that you have already started dealing with. You do make circles, you make triangles, you make rectangles and squares, and various other shapes are there. So you see both these things, algebra and geometry, they both belong to the subject mathematics. All right, so you will learn more about these things when you go to higher classes. In geometry, if one writes ACB instead of ABC, the answer is marked wrong. Okay, so now Bhaiya is telling Munna about the basic principles of geometry. So you see, if one place requires you to write ABC, and instead of that, if you write ACB, then your answer is wrong. Now, it is not just in case of geometry; it is there in case of other subjects as well. If you don't write the right answer properly, then you do lose marks. Yes, if not completely wrong, but then at least some marks are deduced. Okay, so this is an example that Bhaiya gives. The examiners will not spare you. Okay, so examiners will not spare you. Let us first see what examiners mean. The word examiner means that it is someone who decides how well a candidate has done in an examination. Okay, so and in the picture beside you can see there's this teacher who is checking and correcting copies in a classroom. Okay, so the teachers who check your copies are your examiners. Okay, so any person who is examining an exam given by a candidate or a student is called an examiner. And in this case, when Bhaiya is telling that if you write wrong answers, the examiners will not spare you, it is that when your teachers check your copy, they will not leave you. If you write wrong, they will reduce your marks. Okay, so they will not leave you so easily. Spare you means not leaving very easily. Okay. Bhaiya continues saying, they want you to learn word by word from the textbooks. So who are these, who are they here? They are the examiners. They are the teachers. Okay. And it's a fact that you all know that all your teachers do want you to learn word by word from the textbook, and they also want you to develop your own intelligence as well. Okay. So hearing this, Munna says, oh, Bhai Sahab, this is scary. So, he's becoming quite frightened after listening to all this. I don't think I want to go to the 9th class now, but I will still complete my day's homework so that I get no punishment in class. Okay, so his bhaiya has told him so much that all these information are, scaring him. So he says that I don't want to go to class 9. I just want to stay wherever I am. But that does not mean that I'll not do my homework. I will do my homework so that I do not get punished in the class. Okay, now what bhaiya says? Just today, we were asked to write a short essay on the topic of punctuality in 4 pages. Okay, let us see what punctuality is. It has been written in italics. That means it is emphasis has been given on this word. Let us see what it is. Punctuality means the fact of doing something always on the correct time. Okay, so this was the topic of the essay that Bhaiya had to write in his class for 4 pages. Okay, and you see punctuality, if you are late in the class, that means you're not punctual, you're not on time. Okay, and if you are expected to send something or do something within a period of time, and if you're unable to do it, then it shows that you are not punctual. Okay. All right. So you see, he again says that, and imagine, can something be written on 4 pages and still be short? So, he's a bit confused here because he's thinking that in the very beginning, they were told to write a short essay on the topic of punctuality in 4 pages. Now he is thinking that if something is written in 4 pages, how can that particular thing be short? That is why he says it's also mixed up. Just because he's getting confused with all this, that's why he says that it's all mixed up. Now Munna says, now you see, Munna does not say anything. He's thinking aloud. Remember, I had told you that whenever any word is written inside a bracket, it is meant to be an extra information. And the same thing is happening here as well. He is thinking aloud. And the statement that you can now see is not a statement that he, said from his mouth, that he gave this statement. No, he was thinking it. And what was he thinking? Thank God, it was time for school, or else the scolding would have gone on and on. Now students, you already know what scolding means, but do you really think Bhaiya was scolding Munna? Actually, it is not. Bhaiya may sound very harsh, but his intention behind, telling all these things to Munna is good, because he doesn't want Munna to suffer the way he has suffered himself. Okay, that is why he's constantly giving Munna different types of warning. See, this is exactly what thinking aloud is. there's this girl who has a thought in her mind. I was able to picture in my mind. Okay, so this, she's not saying this to anybody. She's just thinking about it. Okay, so when you are having a clear thought or an idea about something, that means you are thinking aloud. Though you are not saying it with your own mouth, but you are, it's going on in your own head. Okay, students, now let us have a quick recap of all the things that we have discussed in today's video. In the very beginning, we saw that Bhaiya fails once again, but Munna becomes a topper in his class. Bhaiya warns Munna to not become proud of himself. Yes, and this is why Munna, in the end, he's thinking that his Bhaiya is scolding him, which is not. He's just warning Munna. Also, Bhaiya gives him examples of algebra and geometry and how these things require a lot of hard work. And at last, we saw that Munna gets scared and expresses his wish to not get promoted to higher classes. Now, when Munna is saying that he's better in his own class and he doesn't want to go to standard 9, do you think he actually means this? It's not, because no person would like to stay in one place for a long time. Yes, you all want to get promoted to the next class. Nobody is there who would want to say that, no, I am in class 5. Okay, let me stay in class 5. I don't want to go to class 6. Nobody will say this, right? So Munna, don't take it very seriously. Okay? This was just said very in zest. Now let us have a look at some questions that have come up in the part of the text that we have discussed in today's video. Okay, so the first question is, in scene 2, how many years of difference is there between the two brothers? Number 2, name one outdoor game mentioned in this particular scene. That means in scene 2. According to Bhaiya, when will Munna understand the importance of hard work? And number 4, what was the topic of the essay? Answers are very easy, alright? So again, I would repeat myself, try to do everything on your own without taking help from outside. Okay, students, now we have come to the end of our discussion of the third part of the chapter, My Elder Brother. The next parts will be uploaded in the next videos, and I'd again ask you to stay at home and study properly, do the exercise, watch the videos, and also prepare for your upcoming pre-midterm examination. Goodbye.